What's up, everybody? Welcome to episode 15 of the Pitside podcast. This week, we're going to talk to Rob Neller of Icon Sim Sports. We're going to talk about the first week of the 2020 winter season. But first, I've got a special guest for you. Stay tuned.
Welcome to the Pitside podcast, where we discuss the latest news and developments in the G-Force Racing League, as well as other racing news inside and out of iRacing. Now, here's your hosts, the A-Lit Outlaw, Preston Cranmer, and Roger, the Bassman Craig.
Yeah, so...
And how are you today?
Yeah, I'm pretty good, Santa Claus. How are you doing today?
I'm doing good, but I'm a little bit concerned right now.
Why is that?
I've heard that you've been a bad boy. You've been very naughty.
No, I think you got the wrong guy.
No, I was talking to the elves the other day, and they said that you've opened a Christmas present early. In fact, you tried to do something very sneaky.
Yeah, I did get in trouble for that. Santa Claus is mentioning the scandal with my new Formula V2 wheel, which I did get caught in actually before the podcast went to air last week. But there were some negotiations that happened, and Penny Lee got a Christmas present early too. So everything's good. I checked John Short's list twice, and apparently I've been good this year. So no penalties for me.
Well, yeah, you won't be on that penalty list, but I'll tell you, Christmas morning you're going to be maybe disappointed. I think that was very, very naughty what you did to PL.
Santa, how'd you know I call Penny Lee PL?
Santa knows everything. You need to know that. Santa's always watching.
Yeah.
And all my little elves are always watching too.
Do you mean the review committee?
The review committee is always watching. That's right. I've been sent some protests by a few of the elves.
Yeah, I'm sure. You might have gotten one from me too.
So, I guess Roger's not here today. Maybe he's been really naughty. I don't know.
Yeah, I think
so.
But
you probably need to get on with the show, because I hear you have some really exciting things on the show today.
Yeah, so the first thing we're going to do is we're going to talk to Rob Neller of Icon Sim Sports. So we're going to actually take a little bit of he's got a promo video that we've been airing during our broadcast. We want to take a look at that now. They are, I'm telling you, I've seen a lot of rigs out there, and short of making your own, right? So we saw Kevin Fry's, and that's got to be the sweetest rig I've ever seen. But as far as stuff you can just go and order, Icon Sim Sports is doing the absolute best work out there. So we talked to Rob for a little while, so we're going to step over and talk to him now.
And I should say Rob's been a very good boy. And hopefully some of our members, or your members, will be asking for some of his equipment under their tree this year.
Yeah. And so,
anyways, Merry Christmas to you and PL and Eli and Dad, Big Mike. Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. Merry Christmas, everybody.
Yeah, so thanks, Santa. We're going to see if we can't get Roger back for the second half of the podcast. But we appreciate it, Santa. I've been good, I promise. Let's go over and talk to Rob now. Thanks a lot.
And we're here with Rob Neller from Icon Sim Sports. And never mind Rob sitting there. Look what's behind him. That is absolutely wicked. We're so happy, proud, whatever you want to call it, to have him on board as one of our principal sponsors this year. And that sim rig is absolutely spectacular, buddy.
Thank you.
So yeah, tell us a little bit about. I mean, we obviously just saw the video. Tell us a little bit about what you've got sitting behind you, because that looks like it's fully decked out.
Yeah, this is the fully loaded R1 Pro. Also has integrated monitor mount, integrated PC stand. It also has side pods. It's not hooked up at the moment. Full graphics kit. It also, another thing you can't see, it has a wind simulator with ductwork that goes from the fans in the front to just inside where your legs would be at. So it'll simulate wind and cool you off, and obviously the faster you go, the more output the fans put out, and it's a good little addition.
So is that something that you do yourself? Like, if you set that, I know there's some like applications out there for that, but I'm not super familiar with it.
I just have it hooked up to an on and off switch because I don't necessarily want the simulated wind part of it. But there are really good sim packages out there that will simulate the speed of the car versus the output of the fans. And
Yeah, got it.
yeah.
That's pretty sweet.
So how long have you been building these, Rob?
Well, I started. I've been developing it for about 2 years now. I've been sim racing about 4, and when I first got into sim racing, like a lot of people, building my rig became a hobby within itself, and in doing so, there was a lot of things that I wanted that just weren't out there. And one of the things I always loved about races and going to the races is seeing all the different colors and cars and numbers and sponsors, and that was just something that I always loved, and that's something I wanted to see part of in my sim world. And so I just started making some parts, and then a lot of friends became interested in it and suggested, you should, you make that and sell it, make that and sell it. And so that's when the idea started bouncing around of if I was to make my own rig, how would I want to make it? So that's kind of what I did. And I, coming from a racing background, most of mine is in motorcycles. I raced super bikes for a long time. And again, I was always painting my own stuff there and doing my own graphics. I showed up every race day, perfect looking bike, displaying all the sponsors, really doing the best I could to promote them as they were, paying me to do. And so that's one of the things that also attributed to the idea of like the side panels and stuff. You can see like how I have certain sponsors placed on there. And, like you see a lot of streamers these days, they do the typical layout. They're one of their cockpit and then one of their face so they can interact with their followers, and then one of their feet on their pedals. And like, it doesn't really display their sponsors, their sponsors are on their sim car, but like you don't see it. The only way the sponsor gets any recognition is if somebody else is streaming and happens to see it, you know what I mean? So this way you can be creative, take one, like your foot camera and place it on the side there, and now your sponsors have direct advertisement, direct interaction with the community, and they'll see who's sponsoring the driver and why. And so that's kind of how that came about. And especially like for streamers and stuff like that, you refer to them like Facebook, Instagram, Twitch, whatever your platform is, so people can find you there. That's the big thing. And besides, I like the colors. I wanted something that gave me the feel of being in an actual race car cockpit. That's something that a lot of the chassis don't offer. There's great chassis. The aluminum profile chassis is extremely popular with people for a lot of reasons. It's strong and highly adjustable. And you can personalize a bit with certain colors, but that was kind of it. I wanted to be able to bring something else to the community for someone like me who really takes pride in their chassis and just wants something spectacular. Every time I walk by my race room, I look in there and like, wow.
I know that's absolutely spectacular. And of course, as you well know, we're big on our foundation is the sprint cars. So and now we got the midgets as well. And I mean that whole framework is just absolutely awesome. So I'm salivating.
That's where a lot of the inspiration came from, was a sprint car. I loved like the tiny little cockpit and the shape of it and the wing and all that stuff. That was just so cool to me, and I wanted to be able to maybe do something like that in a chassis that people can have in their home. You know what I mean? So when I get in my chassis, I get the real immersion, like I'm inside my race car, especially with the roof. That really does it as far as the immersion. I've tried VR, and personally, I don't like it. Triples works better for me, but you know, the roof and the rails and all that. And you would think, like when I first started designing it, back in my head, I was like, are these front rails going to be a problem? Is that going to throw people off? Stuff like that. And after testing it, like I quickly realized after a few seconds, you don't even notice those things, you know. So
Yeah. And I guess we should point out too that whole roof assembly is an option. Like you've talk about the your base unit and then all the components you can add as options.
that's a good one. When I first designed it, I just kind of came up with the base model, which is just the basic frame, no roof, no rear side panels back here, no full bodywork on it. It was just a basic frame. It had a little bodywork in the front so people could put a number and their sponsors and stuff on there. And then each little section, like the stage 2 kit, is basically the rear panels right here. Oops, right here. The framework, and then the body panels, and then you can get the stage 3, which is actual overhead with the roof panel. And each one of those, it all fully comes apart. You know, I originally designed it to be able to ship in a number of boxes, and as it turns out, that actually costs twice as much to ship it that way as it does just to crate it up and ship it assembled.
Really?
Yeah, I know.
Crazy.
Maybe not to Canada.
Well, no.
No. But yeah, it's designed to fully come apart. It's actually a huge kit. It takes a long time to put together, but it's, you know, for someone like me who has a mechanical and enjoys taking things apart and putting them together, it's a good project.
Well, you only do it once, right? So it's
hopefully you're not moving around a lot, because it's a lot of work.
So on your site, you talk about these are custom made for your customers.
Yeah, mostly.
You want to elaborate on that a bit?
The basic frame can be modified a bit. They could make it a little bit longer, a little bit wider, depending on the customer's preference.
The
but
wider
the basic,
part might be
right? There's actually a lot of them. That's funny you say that, because my NASCAR customers and my road race customers are completely different. Like when I get a road race customer, they're these smaller guys, kind of like me, 5'8", you know, 160, something like that. And then my NASCAR customers, they're always like 280, 6 foot.
You mean the
big guy,
the rednecks, right, Roger?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's funny how that is. So I kind of know where they're going to go when they tell me what platform they race on. So yeah, I can make it wider, make it longer, but the basic layout, I have jigs for everything. So when I make them, they're symmetrical on both sides. Everything's going to line up. And then we're getting ready to make an R1 Pro Elite, which is basically the same thing as the R1 Pro, but it's going to be wider. So I can have everything on the inside, shifter mount, button box mounts, everything's going to be on the inside. And then the upper roll cage is going to be retractable to where it can flip up, so you can get it in and out of it, make it a little bit easier. And then when you sit down in it, you're basically going to pull it down over you and lock it in. So
the NASCAR version of that, would that be called the Bubba model, or?
That's funny. Maybe.
Lord. So just for my own curiosity's sake, what we're looking at behind you, what's the footprint like? How wide and how long is that?
This one is about 6.5 feet long and 22 feet wide.
22 inches wide.
22 inches wide.
Yeah.
That's funny.
Yeah,
22 feet. 22 feet wide.
Some fat fools, man.
That's not going to fit in your door. Yeah, that's the question I get a lot of times is, will that fit in my door? And I was like, yes, it'll fit, but it also comes apart too. So.
Yeah, that's awesome. I'm looking at, because I sit in my rig to film these and kind of comparing, and that's about roughly the same size, but a hell of a lot nicer than what I'm sitting in.
Thanks.
So
go ahead.
Well, no. So I was going to ask you. You were telling me a little bit about the graphics that you do yourself. Can you want to talk about a little bit, of what you provide as far as that goes?
Usually, when a customer gets a fully loaded R1 Pro or something like that, I do the graphics for free. So whatever it is they want, if it's within my skill range to do it because I use basically a vinyl cutter and I cut out each layer individually and put them, apply them. Each decal is done the same way, so I can custom do decals. If they have like a graphics picture of a graphic that they have from like their actual race car or something that they've always wanted, they can send that in. We'll do our best to replicate it, which we can. I haven't had a problem yet not doing it. We'll like to work towards doing like a simple wrap job with one layer with like, I guess it's a vinyl. What do they call that? Where you could print right onto the vinyl.
Yeah, I always known it as a wrap, right? So they print it out on a piece of vinyl, and then you just cut the vinyl and stretch it to fit whatever you're putting it on.
Yeah, that'd actually be a lot easier than what I do. That'll be something that worked for. But yeah, that's I really enjoy that part of it because that's what really wakes up the chassis. It looks good when it's powder coated and all that, but once you start putting your personal touch with your own graphics and your decals and your number on there, that's when it's like, that's really when it hits home and like, wow, that's.
Yeah, I think you're right, and I think you mentioned that earlier, talking about kind of the immersion and the realism of it, and that's the thing, right? And it is a hobby, right? I've changed my rig more than I've built my own computer, but I change my rig more frequently. And you're just always kind of updating it, trying to make it feel as realistic as possible. And that's the thing. I'm looking at what's sitting behind you, and it looks like you got a race car sitting behind you. And
everything but the suspension and motor.
Yeah, right. You throw some tires on there and roll it down the hill, you're good to go.
It doesn't help that it's pretty much close to my color combo. So I'm just this is going on my list.
Get your checkbook out, Roger.
Yeah.
Well, once COVID clears up, maybe I get it shipped to your house, Preston, and I come down. How tall is that?
And I don't have the measurements right in front of me.
I'm just thinking about crossing the border with it in the back of my van.
You could do it. Like I said, it comes apart. You can take the upper pieces off. So
yeah,
I've had people come as far as, let me think here, Ohio to pick up their chassis because it saves a lot in shipping. So
yeah,
but yeah, Ohio, Tennessee, Texas, they make a trip.
Where are you in Florida?
We're in St. Petersburg, Tampa.
Okay, near East Bay then.
Right.
East Bay, yeah. So I plan on being down there for 2022. So you know what? I should start my account now. And
right.
I don't know what I do with all my luggage to come home because that would go in the back of the van quite nicely.
You don't need it. You got the most important thing, your new rig.
That's all that matters.
That's why you were asking how tall it was to know if it fit in the back of your van.
If it fit in the back of my van, yeah.
Well, so now all you have to figure out is if Rob's got a layaway plan, and you'll be good to go. You can pick it up in February 2022.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, it's just absolutely spectacular. And you know what you said about the triples and all, which would be spectacular. But even if you're using VR, which I use VR now, but the fact that you're immersed in that rig, like I even find I'm reaching for things in the virtual world, but there you could feel that you're contained in the vehicle. So I think it would just, and especially with the wind, it would just add to that whole simulation and the total immersion effect. So yeah, it's awesome, man.
And using VR, once you're in your chassis, once you're in it, you're going to get a certain muscle memory for where everything's at and a feel. And after long, you're going to be able to hit that precise button that you need on your box or your shifter or your e-brake, whatever it is you got there. It's a lot like a race car. There's also spots where you can mount a harness onto for guys that like to do that. I'm myself, I'm in and out of that thing all the time, so that's kind of in the way, but there are locations on there for you to mount it. There's also dozens of locations to mount transducers or butt kickers all over that thing, so you can put as many as your heart's desires on it.
Well, and I can tell you that being in there and strapping yourself in, there's probably some benefit to that. Now, I don't have a harness on my rig. I need one though, because I don't know if you can see this. I'm actually sitting right next to a wall, and I tend to lean over and when I'm turning and I bump my head on the wall. Yeah, and I bump my head on the wall. Well, I've got I use a HTC Vive, so I've got the headset on and I'll bump it. So the harness can be beneficial. So that's a good thing too.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Yeah, so. I guess the other thing to talk about is you said you answered one question. You've been iRacing for 4 years. You said.
I've been on iRacing for 2 years, and I was on other sims
okay.
for a while, but it didn't do it for me. You know what I mean?
No,
And
no,
I
yep.
searched around, and I don't know why it took me so long to find iRacing. I've been racing my whole life. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But once I got there, just the amount of content they have, there's something for everybody on there. Whether you're Formula One, open wheel, dirt, oval, NASCAR, doesn't matter. It's there.
So speaking of all that, we have 19 divisions now. I was telling them earlier, we can't even get rid of divisions. Guys won't let us. But one of those divisions, the one is the Asphalt Series. It's the Skip Barber cars, and you were out with us a couple of weeks ago. So is that a plan down the road that you'll be coming out on a regular basis? Because you look pretty good out there.
I love to. I love racing the Skippies. I actually have more fun racing that than any other type of a car. Icon Sim Racing, which is the sim racing part of Icon. We do a lot of endurance events, stuff like that. But after that, guys kind of go and do their own thing with their own streams and whatever it is they like to do. But I enjoy running the Skippies. It's something you can push really hard. You're not in too deep. The car is narrowed enough that you can go 3 and 4 wide in spots that you normally can't with a GTE or a GT3. I would definitely like to come out and do some more races. I kind of jumped in at like mid to the last part of the series there. So
Yeah. So that series starts up this Sunday,
Really?
which is when this podcast will be showing. So it'll be later in the day for anybody watching this, and so you're welcome to come out, and we'd love to see you. Because
what track is it?
do you remember was it Okayama?
I have no clue.
It's on the schedule. It's on our website.
I'll find
Yeah,
out.
Yeah, it's
yeah,
on the
Rob,
website.
go to GeForceRL.com.
Yeah, go to GeForceRL.
Because we don't know.
What I do know is you're actually sponsoring that division. So it's the Icon Sim.
So I should be there.
You should be there, man. Yeah.
Right.
So,
I'll see if I can get a couple other guys in there too.
Yeah, there you go.
that'd be
NASCAR.
awesome. Yeah.
Good
We
NASCAR
can use.
showing.
We're trying to build.
Good Icon showing.
Yeah, we're trying to build the numbers there. So.
Well, you guys had a pretty big field when the couple races I ran, and the cool thing about it is like you got some really fast guys and you got some new guys, but like there's a wide range of experience in there to where, a lot of other leagues that I've run in is like it's usually like one fast guy and a bunch of new guys, but you guys got a good mix. That's one thing I really enjoyed, and it was full.
Well, the interesting thing is most of those guys are dirt guys, so it's a new discipline to them, and I think a lot of people said the racing by the end of the season was a lot better. Everybody really they're good racers. It's just they need to adapt. So the other thing I like about it is there's the guys at the front, there's guys in the mid pack, there's guys like me with my buddies, Gary Taylor and. I don't want to name these guys and embarrass them, but there's a few guys that, and
This isn't a list you want to be on.
yeah. Well, yeah, but we're proud. There's Barry Goldner. I'm going to mention that, and John Rayner, and your dad, Mike Cramner.
I didn't say it.
We have a great time at the back. We're racing each other just like the guys at the front are racing each other, and so there's something there for everybody. And but we need some better racers to challenge the Prestons and the Rob Rafferty's and all that sort of stuff.
Now you're lumping me in with the wrong crowd because I can't keep up with Rob, but
Nobody
or
keeps up with
Rafferty,
Rob.
Rob Rafferty. I haven't raced against Rob Neller, so maybe this Sunday, but.
He's not back with me, I'll tell you that. So.
Yeah. So, and that's the thing, and that's why. And I don't know if you even knew about this, Rob, but we started a constructors championship where, based on the first season we ran with Skippies, we set a salary value for each driver based on the number of points they scored per race, and then we gave a salary cap. So it forced the guys that were really good, if they wanted to run for the constructors championship, to pick somebody that was kind of mid-pack to lower and balance the field. And that way, because Rob Rafferty ran away with it. If I'm not mistaken, he may have won every race last season. It was pretty close.
All or all but one, yeah.
Yeah, it may have been all but the ones he showed up and didn't show up for. But so that, they still won the Constructors Championship, but it was in question up until the last 2 weeks, where the Drivers Championship was up pretty much settled halfway through the season. So we try to keep things light. Obviously, like Roger was saying, they're dirt drivers, or a lot of them at least, and so those guys aren't taking it too seriously. So it's kind of a division where everybody just comes out and have a good time. If if you spin out in the corner, nobody's really pissed off. So it's a lot of fun. It's a little less intense than some of our sprint divisions. So for anybody that's not familiar, that'll be this evening. And you can apply to the league, and we'll make sure you're accepted before the race starts.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, so bring some buddies out, and they're more than welcome.
Your slower
That'll be
friends.
fun.
Your slower friends. Yeah.
I'll make a post on our Discord channel and see if we can scoop up some guys.
Yeah. And just so you know, rumor has it that I'm available to be picked up because I think Preston dumped me on the teams for the constructors.
No, I have no
championship,
teammate
so.
either. Rob Rafferty. I couldn't commit. Rob Rafferty, credit to him because that's probably why he's so fast. Wanted me to be able to practice every week, and I just can't do that. So at the moment, unless we're teaming up again, then I'm a free agent as well. So maybe Rob's gonna have to pick between the two of us. I don't know.
There you go. Yeah.
So
Or he'll bring one of his sleepers in. you know.
that's what'll happen. So just before we let you go, you mentioned endurance racing. We've kind of been talking about forming up a team or at least a team we ran with Sebring with for the 24 Hours of Daytona. Are you guys planning to run 24 hours?
Yeah, we are actually. We're supposed to have a practice this Sunday, so there's some new content coming out. The BMW GT or BMW M4.
Yeah.
And then the Lamborghini, so we're going to test those out. We're also going to try out some of the GTE cars. We'll find out what everybody feels the most comfortable with. Because, like you guys know, endurance racing isn't necessarily about the fastest car, the fastest driver, but the smooth, the most consistent and the safest one. Because you really have to protect your car and make it last for 24 hours.
Yeah.
There's nothing worse than having to drive a damaged car for 23 hours.
No doubt. Roger and I teamed up. We ran the, was it 12 Hours of Sebring?
Yeah.
And so we ran that this past season, and then I ran with another team, Petit Le Mans. And I can tell you by halfway through, I didn't care if we won anymore. Like, it just didn't matter. I just wanted to finish. And we finished Sebring, and we were actually all in the room together when we finished, and it was just like, none of us had any experience running endurance racing either. So the fact that we finished was a miracle in itself. But it was a very ecstatic, kind of feeling where everybody was just so pumped that we got it done. So I can speak to the reward of endurance racing. It's a lot of fun.
They really are, especially if you got a good chemistry of guys that have done some racing together. They know each other. They know how to support each other, especially through the long hours of the night when most everybody's asleep. Yeah. It's usually one guy driving and one guy kind of, okay, you're doing great. There's nothing ahead of you. Just, run some laps, be smooth, and I'm here if you need me. You know what I mean? So.
Yeah.
We really enjoy them. It's like you said, it's not necessarily about winning. It's just about finishing because there's some really fast guys out there and guys have been doing it a long time. And, we're kind of a newer team. We came from another team that disbanded about a year and a half ago, and that's when we started the Icon Sim Racing side of things. And we have a lot of fun.
Now, did that start before Icon Sim Sports where you were making your rigs, or were the rigs first and you formed a team based off that?
The rigs were first. Like I said, I've been developing the rigs for about 2 years now, and we actually officially launched, I think, back in September. But yeah, the sim rig thing has been going on for quite some time, and it kind of grew into hey, this is a good way for us to promote and sponsor the chassis side of things, and and same with the team guys. The same goes with the leagues here. League members get a discount and stuff like that. I think I gave you the discount code. So if that's something that they're interested in, they want a chassis down the road, they have access to that code, which gives them an automatic 10% discount. And because that 10%, on a full chassis, it's pretty substantial.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, it is for sure.
For sure.
So
and we're always coming up with new stuff. I'm always trying to design new products because that's the whole thing is someone who doesn't necessarily have the money to buy a full R1 Pro, they can buy the R1 base model. And then when the wife or the wallet sees fit, then you can, get a stage 1 kit and a stage 2 kit and side table and monitor mount. I mean, that's what I really enjoyed, is being able to have a number of things that you can build onto your chassis to really get it to where you want it, where you've imagined it. And that's one of the cool things about the Icon R1 Pro is, like, there's so many different things that we've designed to be able to add on to that, and we're always coming up with more stuff.
So before we go, tell everybody where they can reach you and check all this stuff out.
They can reach us at iconsimsports.com. They can view our products there, leave a message, ask questions. We can also be found on Facebook. Same thing, iconsimsports.com. They can also private message me through that, and if they want to talk about it, ask questions. We can do it in pretty much any color. We offer standard any solid tone color that prismatic powders is where we get our powder coat from, but any solid tone color, pink, white, doesn't matter. It comes standard, but we can also do more exotic colors. It's a little bit more because it's a lot more work to do multiple coats of, like an Illusion Purple. I'm sure you guys have seen that chassis. We're getting ready to do an Illusion Cherry Bomb or something like that. I forget the name. We've done an Illusion Lollipop Lime for a customer, which turned out pretty good. The colors are endless, and the color combinations is really up to your imagination. And that's one of the cool things I really like it, is like when I do a new chassis, I'm getting ready to do like a Illusion Orange and a flat black with a really cool graphics kit for this guy, and I enjoy doing that. It really taps into my creative side, and I really enjoy doing it.
That's awesome.
And the best part is when they come and pick it up, they're always blown away. I mean, unfortunately, it's really hard for us to capture certain details of the chassis that are built into it and stuff like that. And I wish I was a better photographer. I could, but
just the shot right there is it's spectacular enough. So,
well, hopefully I get it all hooked up here soon. You can actually see it live. You know what I mean? Which is what we're going to do. I actually like do a side-by-side comparison so you can see the M1 and the R1 together, and you can see direct the differences and the size differences in between them. Because the M1, it's a great chassis, but it's our mid-level chassis. That's what the M signifies. It's more of like lower-end components, low to mid components. But the R1 Pro is designed, for this serious sim racer, high-end components, direct drive, top-of-the-line pedals.
It's awesome, and if people can't remember where to go, we've also have a link on our sponsor page of our website, so they can go there, and there's a link to your site there as well. So
awesome.
Can't thank you enough, man. This is I'm just excited still looking at that thing. That's just so cool.
Yeah,
thank you.
We definitely appreciate you being involved with the league, and we're hoping to see you out Sundays. Or any night really, if you want to come run sprint cars with us too. Yeah. But I got to tell you, out of the rigs you can go out and just purchase, I haven't seen a more badass rig than that. So congratulations on. I mean, I can't imagine that you guys aren't overwhelmed with work, and if you're not now, you will be here soon.
Thank you, guys. Thank you so much. Thanks for having me on too.
And thank you. Thanks for supporting us.
Thank you.
Yep.
See you guys.
Take care. That rig is absolutely spectacular. Just so excited to have Rob and the Icon Sim Sports on board. But that product is super quality stuff, that's for sure.
Yeah, when I originally started looking at it, I think the first thing I looked at was the price tag. And there's the dangers of doing this during the day. My phone's going off. But, I looked at the price tag, and that was a little bit defeating, I think. But now that I've seen it and kind of gotten a tour of it, it seems every bit worth what it is. And I don't know, it's really impressive. And Rob's just kind of nonchalant about it, but I think he kind of undersells the craftsmanship that goes into to build those, especially being able to build them over and over again. It's pretty cool.
So, well, let me tell you, so Gary Taylor, my neighbor, everybody knows Gary on the in the league, and Gary is a model railroader. He was a model railroader. He got me all involved, and I bought an engine. Wasn't a cheap engine, and it was cool. It had all the bells and whistles and all, literally, and all that stuff. But anyways, he gave up his model railroading for sim racing. So that was good news and the bad news. But the good news for me was I sold that engine last night. So that money is going into the account for that sim rig, because that's I plan on being down in Florida in 2022, and we'll probably talk about that in a few episodes from now. But I plan on being down there, and he's in Tampa, right by East Bay Speedway, where they have the Winter Nationals, and it would be great to have money in the account and put that sim rig in the van and bring it back across.
So I might be about to get chastised, but I don't know a lot about the Winter Nationals or East Bay Speedway. Obviously, it runs somewhat in coordination with the Dirt Car Nationals at Volusia, which is just basically straight across the state, from what I understand.
Yeah. Yeah. So it runs about a week before. So I know it runs. Well, no, it runs, I guess, just before, because I know. Glenn Stiers, Dylan Westbrook, and a lot of the Canadians are down there running it. And I know Glenn would run over to Daytona for the 500. So he was sort of back and forth. So it's right in around, I think it's the weekend of the 500. And then Speed Week is kind of that maybe it's the week before then. Yeah, I'm not sure, because I know a lot of the Canadians go down there. Anyways, it's a huge deal. It's Sprint Car Mania. It's spectacular. So,
well, that may be the difference, because the Dirt Car Nationals are a conglomeration of different series. So you have the Outlaws that come in, the All-Star Circuit of Champions are there for a couple of days, which obviously mesh together. And then you've got big blocks that show up. You've got UMP modifieds that run, and late models. So but they're segmented. So you have like the Sprint Car weekend, and then you have UMPs that are during the week. So it's probably coordinated around the sprint cars, when the sprint cars are going to be there. Because I think when they left, when we were down there, the sprint cars left and went to East Bay, and that's when the UMPs picked up.
Yes, because the last time when we were down there together, that we didn't even know we were there together.
Yeah.
That was my last week, and I was coming home, and I was missing East Bay, which was killing me, because Dylan Westbrook was down there, and a bunch of the guys from Ashwegan, and I had to go home. So that mistake won't happen again, that's for sure. So it's the week of Speed Weeks. Really, it's the week after Daytona. The following weekend, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, something like that.
Yeah, that makes sense, because I know I think it was probably Friday or Saturday night, because they obviously have a couple of different series that run each night. That was the week Justin Haley won that UMP race, and he was, I guess it must have been Friday night, because he was then talking about how he was running the Xfinity series at Daytona the next night. So those are all right there together. So pretty cool. It's a lot of racing in one little area.
Cool. Yeah, it's some big names down there, that's for sure. So it's a great time. I can't wait to get back, and it won't be this year, of course, but next year, it'll be a big celebration and a chance to get to meet a lot of people. But let me go back to another subject here. Like, you had a special guest on earlier, and Santa alluded to something that was going on there, and I know our race team was aware that you had snuck the wheel. You had put a jacket in the box that was going to be wrapped up for Christmas, and then you got busted. But we didn't know until a week later. You said something about you were going to Bass Pro to get her sunglasses, and you were working out a deal to get your wheel back. We didn't know she took the wheel. She took the wheel from you.
This is being mischaracterized left and right. So, yes, Penny Lee on Black Friday purchased me a Fanatec Formula V2 wheel so I could do some road racing. prep for
talked
the
about that
24
last week?
hours of Daytona. I know we talked about it last week, but I'm setting the stage here for anyone that is about to blame me for something that is not my fault. So, yes, I did. I got to test it for about 3 or 4 hours one night to make sure it worked because I would be receiving it after the 30-day return period.
Yeah, makes sense.
So I gave it back, and then Roger pressured me into running the final Skip Barber race of the season. So I snuck.
fault.
It's Roger's fault. I
Yep.
snuck the wheel out of the box. I replaced it with the jacket, which I thought was roughly the same weight, or would at least appear to be the same weight. And I put the wheel back on the base, the Fanatec base, and I ran the Skip Barber race. And without a lot of success, I might add, but that doesn't matter. And then it was, I guess, Monday or Tuesday the following week, and Penny Lee's comment was, "Do you think I'm stupid?" And I said, "Of course not, dear. Why would you ask me that?" And she pointed to, we have an island in our kitchen. She pointed to the island, and there was a Fanatec box there with all the styrofoam and a jacket. And I said, "Oh, you know about that then?" And so
This is the first time I've heard this story. This is great.
without asking, I fetched the wheel and I said, "Here, you can have this back. I'll open it on Christmas." So I voluntarily returned the wheel. It was not taken from me.
You got busted and you returned the wheel. You didn't voluntarily. You weren't going to return that wheel. You had the jacket in there. You got busted.
But I did it without asking, which means it was voluntary.
Santa didn't see it that way.
Well, okay. So Penny Lee had asked for a nice pair of sunglasses for Christmas, like a legit, like super nice pair. So we went to Bass Pro to pick her out some sunglasses, and I won't include the fact that I also got a new pair of sunglasses out of it because they had a deal running. That doesn't matter. But so we're in the store and we bought these nice pair of sunglasses, which actually also fit me quite well too. I'll say.
Just like like her headset. Yeah, go on.
Oh, damn it. So we're in the store and we're getting ready to check out, and she goes, "If I give you your wheel back, can I have my sunglasses now?" And I said, "No, absolutely not." And then when we got home, I gave her sunglasses and I said, "I'll take my wheel now."
That's unbelievable.
It's out of arm's reach, but if I could show you, I would show you that I do have the wheel now. And Penny Lee has been glad to wear her new pair of polarized Costas for the past week. So we're even. Everything's good.
Buddy, you're disgusting. Really. I hope there's no children watching this.
Well, I have to tell you, Santa was a lot nicer about it.
The funny thing was the team didn't know anything about this until finally he said, he talked about this negotiation. That's when we realized she took the wheel.
I gave her the wheel. She didn't take it. I mean, she took it when I gave it to her. Yes.
You got busted.
I got busted.
Yeah, you didn't even weigh the jacket.
I think the weight. I think the comment I made last week was whether I hope she doesn't watch the podcast, and I didn't even make it to Sunday, so it didn't matter.
Oh, anyways, we need to move on because there's so much to talk about. But that's absolutely classic. That is. But that rig is just kick-ass, man. Holy jeez, that's I knew it was good. I've seen stuff on the webpage, but just it's sitting behind him like that. It's like as he kept talking, I don't even know if Rob Neller was in the picture because all I saw was that sim rig. It's just like spectacular.
Yeah, it was really nice. I don't need it, but I definitely.
No, I don't need it.
It's on the list now, right? I mean, it's.
When you get to my age, there's not much you do need, so it's all want. It's all want at this point. So I want it. So, anyways, 2022. That's the plan. So, but we've had tons of stuff happening here, man. The season started. Season 2021 winter season, not 2020. I just want to straighten you out on that.
How is it the 2021 winter season?
Because like 10 of the 12 weeks are in 2021.
Yeah, but wasn't the last one the
Go to-
2019 winter season? I mean,
go
I
to
made the graphics, so
You go to iRacing, and you look and see what they call that season that just started this week. They're calling it the 2021 S1.
well, that's because
Okay, so I rest
everything
my case.
everything iRacing done is it does is soon, so they're just assuming that it's next year.
So you'd rather us call it 2020, 10 weeks into the next
Because
season. So in March, we're still in the 2020 season. Come on, get with the program. We want to get out of 2020 as fast as we can. You know that.
I gotta be honest. This podcast isn't going well for me at all.
It's not. No, it's not. So, anyways, so we started out the week. We've added a division to the Monday Night League, the Rustlers, which actually is on Tuesday night, just because we don't have room. But it's the numbers aren't large, but we're transferring 10 this season, so that gives a lot of guys more opportunity, especially like a guy like me. I could maybe finish in the top 10, but I'm not going to finish in the top 5, not often. So I got a shot at getting transferred. So, anyways, good racing all around, and so that was cool. But the street stocks, I want to talk about the street stocks because we weren't high on the street stocks. It was a bit of a crap show last year, but I gotta say, they were spectacular. Both races, even the B division. I thought the B division might be. It was good. Now, part of it was Volusia, but we've done two things. We split them up into divisions, so the better guys are in an open series. And we've limited it to 5 tracks, so as voted by the members. So I think that's going to really help. We don't have those the little bull rings for them, and we don't have those big long tracks. So Volusia was perfect. And looks like great things to come. That was great racing, and kudos to Supreme Sim Racing for coming on board and covering a broadcast. Joe and Doug did a great job on that, as they always do. It's another added dimension. We thought we were going to be broadcasting 3 to 4 races. We're up to 6, so we just can't stop this beast from growing. But the racing was really, really good. It's really, really encouraging. And a couple of weeks from now, we'll because it's new, we'll rebalance those divisions. But I think we're pretty darn close because the racing was really, really good. And then, of course, last night, because we're recording this on Thursday, or Friday, the Dirt Mods, 3 divisions. I honestly thought, I think we've had 130 guys sign up. So I thought. I had the first race set for 60. I thought it would be like we'd be turning people away, but I think people either lose interest or they forget what night it's on or whatever. But we had 3 good turnouts, and the nice part about it is you don't really want 60 in a division because now more than half the field's getting turned away. So I think we had somewhere between 24, 28 cars. So for me that's the sweet spot. That's perfect. There's enough. Drama to of making that some guys aren't going to make the A main, but you don't want it to be like 10, 12 guys, 3, 4 guys. So there's a little anxiety about whether you're going to make it or not. So that it's working out really, really well. But the racing was great last night. The last broadcast, of course, Advantage was doing it, and those guys just did a bang up job as they've done. I'm really happy. The broadcast teams we have are spectacular. But the 3 divisions were great, and I thought the racing was good. What, like, your thoughts? Because you were...
Yeah, so I had, I guess, just for entertainment value, had been running a lot of the 358s and fixed sets and stuff, and had gotten pretty used to those. So the big blocks were an adjustment. I have no idea how to set them up, so that's a little bit my fault, right? I just have to learn that. I reached out to Jeff Barker on the heels of he dumped me in the race, so I'm just calling him out. He didn't mean to, but he wrecked me. So I tried to morph that into, hey man, don't worry about it. Teach me how to set these things up. So I'm waiting to hear back from him. He hasn't responded, so that's not a good sign. But anyway, so I'm trying. But yeah, I mean, the racing was good. I mean, we saw Brandon Schultz take off again and win.
Yeah.
But
Brandon Schultz has figured out how to set him up. That's for sure.
yeah, that's right. But I mean, the racing overall was pretty good. You got a little beating and banging, but they're pretty close to full body cars, right? So it's you can get away with that a little bit, and that's okay. We don't have an issue with that overall as long as the racing is, because you can beat and bang and still be clean, right? There's a fine line there, but it's there, and I think at least so far we found a pretty good balance. That I did not get to see the first race, but I saw the small block race, and then obviously was a part of the big block race, and it was good racing, right? And that's as the kind of the people behind the league. That's what we want to see. As a driver, it didn't go as well for me. The second half, I was jumped, but
never mind for you. So I was in the C division, and I think there was 20. There might have been 25 or 26 cars, So I made the A main, but I think I finished. I think I got dumped. I don't know, but I wasn't doing it. I've been so busy. Like, I still haven't got half the schedule set up yet. I've been passing on races I really wanted to get into. So that's my excuse. I'm sticking with that one. But I finished at the back. But you know what? But the racing was good, and I know I've run enough of those races. Only like a couple, but still enough to know that I'm going to have a riot in there. And again, like I mentioned during the interview with. Rob Neller, that there's our group at the back, and I shouldn't name names, but that there's my buddies at the back, and we have a great time, and it's going to be good. Out of the gate, first night, I thought everything went really, really well, and we'll rebalance because it's all new. We'll rebalance those divisions. We also need to reevaluate or evaluate the IL because 0.25 is too high for that because iRacing rates those incidents way different than they do for sprint cars. So we'll come up with a number, but right out of the gate, everything went really, really well this week. And then this afternoon, we had the brand new trucks, the Pitside podcast truck division. And I wanted to run it, but I had to pick up a couple of cars today, and I just got home just too late to get in. But you did run, and I think I saw a podium shot with you in it.
Yeah, I did. I finished third. I was actually. We've talked about this numerous times. How I got started in iRacing before dirt was even a thing. So I'm pretty familiar with asphalt, but I don't run asphalt races at all anymore, really, other than skippies and some road racing. It's just completely different anyway. So I was extremely happy with getting a podium, but I was just generally happy with my performance anyway. There were definitely a few guys in there that were just faster, and it's interesting to me how that happens in a fixed setup race on asphalt because it's not about not getting loose, and it's just kind of a distant memory for me at this point. But I skipped the first pit stop, or on the first caution we had a few guys pit, and I skipped it and thought that was going to be the end of me, and then we had a second caution where most everybody pitted except for maybe the first 2 or 3 guys. They weren't. They ended up being first through third after the pits, and so I figured I was kind of on the back foot because I made a mistake. I was messing with my settings in iRacing earlier in the day, and I turned off the graphical representation of your throttle, brake, and steering wheel, which also shows you what gear you're in. And I didn't think much of it. Yeah, well, so I drove into the pit box and downshifted because I came in second, which I should have been in first, but I came in second and I downshifted, and I must have downshifted twice because my pit stop ended and I went to go and I'm just mashing the gas and I was in neutral. So I came into the pits in third place and came out in like 12th or 13th. So I started from the back on the restart, which was about lap 20, I think, out of 50, and it went green flag from there. So I was pretty impressed. We had at least 30 laps of green flag racing to end the race.
That's awesome.
And there were a couple of incidents that happened where I was able to just kind of pick my way through, where people got loose and stuff and slowed some other guys down, and I just right place, right time. But I was quick, and I think it was Bill Bacher was running up front, and these guys are going to have to forgive me because I haven't heard their names pronounced, but I think it's Trent Verstraeten So I was right on his bumper there for a little while, and he slowly pulled away from me, and then slowly caught Bill, and then he passed Bill with a couple laps to go, and he won the race. So
Yeah, he's a new guy in the league. He's up in Ontario here, and he's been doing really well in a lot of different divisions. So and he's volunteered to help out as well. So kudos to him. But I checked the results on that. Like there's about 5 or 6 guys that had led laps. So that was a good. Last week we had a trial and it didn't go too well. But yeah, it looked pretty good, and I think hopefully the numbers will grow because it's a Friday afternoon, and a lot of guys get off work early, and it's a good group of guys too. So I think that's going to be a fun series.
Yeah, it was definitely a fun race. I think it's kind of like you're talking about with having a group of guys at the back. There were small little battles going on, on the track. So you had a kind of a front pack that spread out eventually, and a middle pack that spread out eventually. So there was good racing going on. No matter you could be at the back and still be fighting for positions even. So it was a lot of fun, and I think that was a good point that you made, and something that gets overlooked in our league a little bit is that you talk about your group of guys at the back, but the way we have our divisions tiered, it makes allowances for that. So the guys that maybe not as fast and not naming names or whatever, but you can still get out there and race somebody. You might be slow, but you're still going to have other people to race against because we've got the driver base to do it. So I think that's a lot of credit to our league that gets overlooked, but it's one of the reasons our league is as popular as it is because we've got competition no matter your skill level.
Yeah. And you know what? For the dirt mods, I'll be in that C division. And I'm happy to be there, because I'm going to be racing guys that are my ability, and I'm not getting in the way of guys like Brandon and yourself and all the the A type division guys. So it's going to work out really, really well, and we were excited about that whole division, and it hasn't disappointed, that's for sure. So good things going forward.
Well, and I can say for anybody that's watching this that maybe not part of that feels like they're an elite driver, they need to be in that division because that's our end goal, and I don't think we're far from it already because those cars have just come out, and I have every belief that will be the best and highest level of competition for big block modifieds on iRacing. So, I mean, we've got a couple of weeks to be working on building it and making sure that we're get to run our qualifying instead of a pill draw. But I mean, it's going to be the best.
First night.
Yeah.
If it was going to screw up, I'm embarrassed. I take pride in trying to do things right, and I have screwed up so many races this first week, and I think just being overwhelmed by I got to set up 240, and the worst part is if you screw something up, it's more work to fix it than it was to create it. So it's but we'll get there. We'll get there on that. But yeah, my apologies. I screwed up a few things. I didn't even set up a 410 race the other day. Guy showed up at 2:00 and there was no race, so that's on me. But yeah, it's been great. And then tonight, which is Friday night, the Pro Lates are taking the track, and this is a division. I've said it before. A division won't go away. The guys that drive it wouldn't let it. Kudos to them, and they've all stepped up, and it's being broadcast tonight. We've got a new broadcast. Fast Track Racing is the network doing it, and excited about the whole division, and what's in store for that. So lots of things happening all over the place. It's just I'm really pumped for this season.
Yeah, and I think I mentioned it to Rob. I don't remember if it was on air prior to the interview, but it's really something to me that we've gone from where we started, which was two races Monday night with the same guys in both races, and now we've got, what is it 19 or 20 divisions?
think it depends if you count recruiting.
So right, so
If you don't count recruiting, it's 19.
Well, let's count recruiting because there's the same
20.
amount of work goes into it. We've got 20 divisions, and as of now, we've got a broadcast Monday through Friday. So
and two on Wednesday.
And 2 on Wednesday. And it's crazy. I mean, we've got basically our own little network running on GeForce Esports, right? I mean, it's our baby, right?
We are GeForce Esports right now. We're it's just been phenomenal. I had a thought and I've lost it. That's where I'm just kind of rambling here because I'm trying to remember what the hell I was going to say.
Yeah,
and it'll come back in a minute.
Well, so I mean, we've also got a division that we don't broadcast on Sunday nights in the Skippies, and I could see that at some point being another broadcast division. So
we used to have a kick-ass broadcast crew do that.
Yeah, I agree, but I think they were just more than we could afford, quite frankly. The talent level was too high.
Yeah, I'll go with that. Yeah, for sure. So but anyways, and that's still gone, so it doesn't matter. But it's really exciting. The whole season, everything we've got going, and the other thing I was going to mention was, not only have we got all these broadcasts, but and we're still looking for we got divisions not sponsored, and the more you and I don't make anything. We've said that before. So the more we get, the more we can broadcast and promote. But we're running out of spots for the sponsors on the broadcast. Like, we got so much support come in. It's great to have all these new products on board and new sponsors and people stepping up. So kudos to the people that have come from the Maconie's setup and Icon, but also from within. Like, I think almost every race team now sponsors the league. That's huge, man. And big shout out to Supreme Sim Racing. They've made a significant donation.
So I want to stop you there. I don't know, I know they're sponsoring the Street Stock division.
Yeah.
Who was on Supreme Sim Racing? Because I'm not familiar with the name.
So the main one behind it is Steve Shaw Jr.
Got it.
And then there's Zach Chapman. But there's a whole bunch of others, and they're actually part of their read ad, which I have to apologize because it was kind of like an 11th hour thing where they came on board, and I, to write these broadcast scripts that I didn't get it in time, so they didn't get mentioned Wednesday night. But part of their read ad is they're looking for more drivers. They have, what they do is they run a bunch of hosted sessions, and if people are interested in hooking up with these guys, they can run these. I think they're Street Stock hosted sessions. We'll find out more next week to talk about it. But people can go out. They're looking to build a team. So, but it's Steve Shaw Jr. Everybody knows that name.
Yeah.
So
the champion.
He's behind it, and he's the guy that contacted me and said, "Hey, we would like to get this broadcast and sponsor it." So it's great. And Spartan Racing, they stepped up for Friday night. So. It's and all the other teams, Bandy Built Racing, is stepped up, partnering with Velocity Race Design to put on the Monday night and the Thursday night stuff. So it's been great. Just can't say enough about all the teams that have stepped up to help us financially, as well as a lot of them are volunteering to do all sorts of roles. So
yeah, and that's something that we've seen where we kind of had a middle ground, I think, in our growth period, where we were growing but weren't seeing the involvement that we needed to from teams and drivers and such. But that seems to have turned a corner, right? I mean, the guys seem to be really investing now, and it's. I'm not saying at all that the way every driver has to invest to make the league better is to give us money, because that's certainly not the case.
No.
We do have to fund things, obviously, but we've got people on the review committee, we've got people helping when we do need broadcasters that offer to help us canvas for new broadcasters. Those are the things we need, just general volunteers to step up and do stuff, and we're now starting to see. Now we're still short on where we need people. But
we need, so it's a great opportunity. I did do a post, but people need to understand, like, we're run 20 divisions, and we've got a few, we got some great admins, but we need more. We need more. There's some sessions that will go unadmin. We don't ever want to have that. So you don't have to have a great skill level for this. Like, don't be intimidated. We'll get you one of the lower divisions and bring you along. But we do need more help there, because that's where we're really, really thin. So just putting that out there right now.
yeah, and one thing that we've seen that's been successful, and Andy Patton is one that we've kind of done this with. Actually, it's been a handful of guys. But if you run a race at 9:00, if you can just come in early and admin 8:00, that's helpful. Or if you run to 8:00, if you can stick around and admin 9, if you're going to be around and you might be able to do that, let us know. We'll get you the tools you need to do it. It's not, I mean, it's truthfully, it's a pretty fun job. It's not high intensity by any means, and you usually have somebody on the exec team that's nearby too to help you, verify rosters and that kind of thing. So you're not on your own. So if you're going to be around, let us know. If you're there every week for something and you can stick around for an extra hour, or you can be there an hour early, let us know, and we'll make a place for you for sure.
Yeah, because we don't want to burn out the Heinz, Fries, and Pattons, because they've really been doing a great job, and but you don't want to burn people out. So if anybody is interested, that would be great.
Yeah, and if you step up for a night that's already taken, it's not to say that we can't do like some kind of rotating schedule where you don't have to be there every week.
Absolutely.
So we can work with your schedule. Just let us know.
So lots more stuff we've got in the planning stages. Some Preston doesn't even know about. I've been laying awake at night. I got to run by him. But we got more like continuous improvement. But if I could take a minute, I know we're running on. So I did want to talk about the different leagues and the process we're going to go through in the next few weeks to condense those down. So what we have right now is we had the original G-Force Outlaws, which was you get in with an I rating below 2,000. And this season was sort of our breakout. Well, last year was a breakout season when we took over the Elite series, which was unlimited. And so what we were doing was expanding the other divisions. So like the midgets, the street stocks, the pro lates will be this way as well, and the they're modified, where it's unlimited I rating. So what we initially did was created separate leagues for each of those to kind of try to manage them to get the right people in the right ones. But it's become a bit of a management nightmare. So kind of decided to do this sooner than later. So I know there's been lots of changes. Maybe not the best time, because guys are just getting it. A lot of new guys in the league, especially in those unlimited sides. But what we're going to do is there will be the G-Force Outlaws, which has always been there. We got the G-Force Road, which is the Sunday night skippies. We have the Elite division, which is invite only, so that has to stay separate. But all those other divisions, so we're talking the midgets, the street stocks, the Elite qualifiers, the dirt modifieds, pro late models, will all be in one division. And what we're going to do is rename it was the Gauntlet. We renamed it to the Elite Qualifier. We're going to rename it one more time to G-Force Dirt Unlimited. So what we need to do is, if you're in those other divisions, we picked that division because most guys are already in it. But if you're new to the league and you've joined up in those others, and we will be communicating this over the next week or two, but you need to join that league. It'll be renamed G-Force Dirt Unlimited, and effective January 1st, all of those sessions will be under that. You need to be in that league to see the sessions. So I apologize for a little bit of the confusion, but we're just kind of playing this as we see it and kind of taking the best approach. But I know, like Bill Calder and I, who manage all of the back end stuff, it's going to be way easier to manage and control. Make sure everybody's got a unique number and all of the rest of that. So that's coming. There'll be an announcement on it, but I just wanted to mention that now.
Yeah,
sorry for rambling.
That's one of those things. Just like the whole league has been, really, is we learn as we go and we refine things and get better. So it may be a little headache for a week or so, but it'll definitely make a difference. I think even for drivers, that's one thing that I've noticed. I need to make sure we've got a big block division now and all that, and I've had to make sure prior to each race that I was in that division, and this will simplify it a little bit. Because if you race midgets every week and then you want to show up for the Friday truck race, which I don't know if that's in that division, but just for example, then you're already in there. So it'll make it a little easier on everybody, I think.
Yeah, and so the other one I might want to mention too, just because it's different, because New Year's Eve and Christmas Eve are both Thursday nights, we were going to lose 2 nights of the dirt modifieds, which we're just getting off the ground. We want to keep that momentum going. So this Monday night will be the regular. It'll be the Outlaw division on Monday night, regular Monday night. But the following Monday night, we are moving the dirt modifieds for that week only to Monday, so they don't miss 2 weeks. So dirt modifieds will miss a week. The Monday night sprints will miss a week. But just to be aware of that not this coming Monday, but the following Monday will be dirt modifieds. So we will try to get that word out as much as possible. But just thought that was one way of kind of balancing it and keeping everything kind of active over the holidays.
Yeah, I think that makes sense, and that way, I mean, because you got a lot of the same drivers running anyway in the two divisions, and they're segmented in very similar ways too. So
they are.
Yeah. So
you got anything else, buddy? Because I'm kind of I covered off everything I wanted to, and I know we wanted to have Greg Boydell on tonight.
I was getting ready to say that.
We ran into some technical issues, and we plan on having him back next week.
Yep, and so as always, if anybody's interested in coming on, you got something to promote, or you just want to come on and pal around with us, let us know. But I don't really have anything to add. I think the first week of the season has been off to a good start. I am going to publicly petition that we don't start seasons on bull rings, just for the fact that we've got new drivers and new divisions and such. But nonetheless, I said that originally prior to the week, and it really hadn't been too bad. So
you got to blame that on iRacing, because we're following their schedule this season. So Limaland was the first one on their 360. So we just kept it. But I agree with you. I totally agree with you on that. That's not the best way to start.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I mean, like I said, it wasn't nearly as bad as I expected it to be.
No. Everybody's getting better there. I can make it around now. So
I thought like I said, the big blocks were a little bit more difficult, but I think that was a product of my own just not paying attention and running too many 358 races there, because they were a lot easier. And that was one thing. One thing that we found, and I was talking about that with Andy, I was just as fast with the 358s as I was the big blocks. As far as lap times go, they weren't really any different, which I thought was interesting.
Let's talk about those the dirt modified just before we go, because there's a couple of things out of that. Was I think even the B division. So the B division is open 358s. I think people got caught with their pants down. One would be No Show Joe, I think. So Joe Backus was in that. Joe is no, sorry, that was the street stocks. Joe was in the A division, which is now open, and I think he's been really busy. He's got a lot going on in his life, so he doesn't make it out as much as he used to.
He's never made it to the podcast.
Never made it to the podcast. But I think him and a number of guys didn't realize or forgot or didn't see get a chance to read that it was open. And because I watched Joe was running around near the back, and that's not Joe. So I think as the weeks go on and people get used to the setups, it's going to improve. And the same goes over with the modifieds, like the 358s and the big blocks. I think people, haven't put enough time in to get those setups right, or maybe they need to see McConey setup shop. But it was very cool watching the big blocks with the, at the track.
You just had a major freeze there. I'm not sure what happened.
Yeah, well, I watched you freeze. So that, which I know means, so folks, you see me freezing on the screen. It's actually on Preston's side. I'm doing fine, but I see him freezing. I know, okay, on the podcast, it's going to be him.
So
But what I was,
there have
I
been
was-
issues, and I'm not going to get roasted again. There have been
no,
issues in the past where Roger freezes every few seconds, and it was on my end. But we haven't had any problems this whole show, and Roger just froze for a good 10 seconds there. So it could have just as easily been on Roger's end. I
Okay.
don't know where that happened.
Okay, maybe I'll take the hit on that.
Yeah, okay.
So I was just saying about the setups. Guys will get used to the setups. Is obvious that Brandon Schultz had it figured out right off the bat. But it's making for better racing overall, and guys will get caught up. Now, I was also talking about the big blocks coming out of turn 2 and turn 4 with the left front wheel up in the air, just like you see them at the track. It's pretty wild.
Yeah, somebody, it might have been LW Wise. I don't remember who it was, but somebody actually posted on the YouTube chat on GeForce Esports about what you could do to make sure you tote the front. And so he was saying you tie down the right rear and, just giving some general stuff. And there were definitely people doing that. And we were talking to Shorty earlier today about, what it takes to do that and whether it's beneficial or not. So, yeah, it was pretty wild. It looks pretty realistic. And that's the one thing that and I think we talked about it last week, the big blocks, or the new dirt modifieds, the suspension just feels different than all the other cars.
Yeah.
You can feel it, you get too far sideways, you feel a wheel hop, you can feel the suspension bouncing around. It's definitely, I think it's going to make people better drivers because you get punished a little bit more when you do something slightly wrong, so it just straightens you up a little bit more.
And that's what I found, like when I was running the Sportsman or the fixed 358s, was I'm losing all the momentum coming out of the corner, starting to bounce and all that stuff, and I've lost all my momentum. I'm almost at zero, and that's what I need to get smoother and work on that. So that's my challenge for the next week.
Yeah. Well,
I got an extra week because they don't run again till week Monday.
Yeah. So this next week, the predominant. Now I know we have a couple of divisions that are different now with the schedules. Like we were talking about the street stocks and such.
Yep.
But the predominant track, excuse me, we're at the next week is Knoxville. Is that correct?
I think so. Yes.
And then okay. So
schedule.
yes.
Yeah, Knoxville. I believe. Yeah, because the elite were at Knoxville, so they're a week ahead of us.
Right.
So predominantly Knoxville.
So that
the street stocks, midgets, and pro lates have a different schedule, and the dirt modifieds follow the Monday night, whatever track they're at.
And so the elite you're talking about was actually the elite qualifiers.
Yes.
Or no, the elite shootout.
The elite shootout.
So, and then we've got one more week of the elite shootout.
Yes.
And then the elite division will return in full force the following week.
Yeah, and the qualifiers as well. The true, formerly the gauntlet.
Right.
So, yeah.
Yep, lots of exciting stuff. I think this first week has gotten off to a good start. I know you mentioned there were a couple of things, but the league has quietly gotten more competitive. I think that's one of the more subtle differences this season, where we've opened up a lot of divisions, so we're going to see the talent level increase, I think, a whole lot, where you see, we have unlimited iRacing now, we've got open setups, so the racing will probably get better. You'll see guys come in, I think, from not our league to come in to try to run the more competitive stuff. But, it's business as usual as well. We just have a little bit more business to handle than we used to.
Yep, yes. And kudos to you, buddy, for getting the whole IRLM, the standings all set up, ready to go for the new season, because I know that's not an easy task. So thanks for everything you do there.
Yeah, glad to do it. I know if you go to the site now, I think the divisions are still a little bit out of order. I've got to resort those, but they're where they need to be. And as it usually goes, the first week or so, you might see results that trickle in a couple of days late, just because we're fine tuning and working out bugs. I mentioned to Roger that I had to make a change for this season, where the B mains were no longer called B mains. Or not always called B mains in iRacing. Now, if you don't run a C main, you only run a B main. They're in the back end data. It's called a consolation. So I wasn't pulling results from that, so I had to go in and change that. And that's not on my end. I had to go in, and when you pull a results file, if you look at the source code, it's tens of thousands of lines of code, so I had to sort that out. But really wasn't too big a deal. I thought I was stumped there for a little bit, but that's how it goes. I think.
Haven't had a challenge you couldn't handle yet.
Yeah, that's right, and it's just takes a little more than usual, and there'll be some new things coming out soon. I think one of the next steps would be, I know Rogers had to do the overall championship calculations by hand because I didn't have a way to do that, so that'll be one of the next steps. And then after that, the next step is to put the review committee all into IRLM too, so that they'll have a way to do that. So we got some cool stuff coming out after that. I think maybe we'll start looking at releasing it for sale. But as of right now, it's G-Force Racing League property, so you guys can brag about that to anybody else running other leagues.
So something else, I haven't even put an announcement out on this yet. And I think I briefly mentioned to you, but was negotiating with one of the they have a sprint wrap company, but they also have a photo company, and that's NSM, which is Need for Speed Motorsports. So we just sort of inked the deal with them. So they'll be the wrap company will be sponsoring us, and also the photo company, and we got some cool plans with that'll be announced in the coming week. So you heard it here first.
Excellent. Yeah, that's. I don't think you did mention that to me. I heard it here first.
Well, you were out of town, and you were heads down with all the. I didn't want to, keep bugging you with, and I didn't have the time to send all the messages because I just between that and trying to get this schedule done and not screwed up. And it's been a crazy week, but we're getting there. And I don't know. I think we're almost done. We're overdone here. And I just want to wish everybody a Merry Christmas and all the best this year. Stay safe, and just treasure the fact that you value your health and all the things, not what you want, but what you have. So thanks for everybody's support, and looking forward to great things coming in the new year.
Absolutely, yeah. And as usual, we tend to talk too long, but yeah. So and I echo those sentiments, and quite frankly, I don't know why it didn't register with me earlier when Santa Claus showed up. But this will be our last episode before Christmas, and then we'll have one that comes out that same weekend. But Merry Christmas to everybody. I hope everybody just has good time with their family, and hopefully COVID doesn't put too much of a wash on your holidays. But just be safe and take care of yourselves, and we'll see you back here in a week.
See you on the track.
Thanks, everybody. What's up, everybody? This is this week's edition of the Pitside podcast. This week we're going to talk to Rob Neller of Icon Sim Sports. We're going to talk to Greg Boydell. Damn it. No. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. What's up, everybody? Welcome to week 15 of the Pitside podcast. This week we're going to talk to Rob Neller of Icon Sim Sports. We're going to talk to original Auschwitz. Sorry.
Outtake.
What's up, everybody? Welcome to the 15th week of the Pitside podcast. I don't like that. I'm going to read.
So we're here with Bob Neller, and never mind Bob. Look at what's behind him. Like, that is spectacular.
Time out.